Hey everyone, oops, TV room. Alex back again, finally with another video. I know it's been a minute since I last uploaded. It's definitely been a crazy few months with all the packing and just trying to find somewhere to move to. But for those of you that don't have me on social media, on Friday, as of when I'm filming this, on Friday I turned 28, and in typical fashion I hit the record store and I actually found some good stuff in a charity shop as well. Not one of my usual spots. I went to on the actual Friday, on my actual birthday, I went to um, the Salvation Army in town, which normally is one of the worst spots for getting hits, but I managed to find some really, really good stuff. So I'm just going to go through them with you now. Yep, I've picked up 8 records from the Salvation Army. First one being the 7-inch single for Liberian Girl by Michael Jackson. Big Michael Jackson fan, didn't have this single from him and in the picture sleeve too. Really happy to get that added to the Michael Jackson collection. Has a Girlfriend on the B-side, which came out on his Off the Wall album. Yeah, really, really stoked to grab that one. A bit of jazz funk in the next 3. These are all records I'm showing you from this charity shop, all £1 each as well, so really happy with that. This is Stanley Turrentine, Inflation, 1980. Now you can see the cover's a bit ropey here, and on the back there's a little bit as well. But my guess is that most of these are from the same collection, if not all from the same collection, because they're all about the same condition. Pretty well looked after, just need a little bit of a clean, but this one's really, really good, so happy to grab that. Again, wasn't too familiar with this album. The ones I weren't familiar with, I did listen to a few of the sample tracks online and dug them. So yeah, Inflation by Stanley Turrentine, however you want to pronounce that. Next up, Clue and Bob James with Two of a Kind. This album I was familiar with. I just always either see it overpriced for what I want to pay, or it's beat to crap. And it's a shame because it is a decent jazz funk album if you guys want an introduction to either of these two artists. A really good collaboration album too, from them. Yeah, I just really like this one, so I had to grab that one, especially for £1. Couldn't complain. Next up was Rodney Franklin. I went a bit nuts when I saw this one in there, because I've never seen Rodney Franklin stuff out in the wild. But yeah, really good album from him. Self-titled, again, 1980s the year on this one. US press here, so it's on the round Columbia label, which is really cool. Yeah, really, really stoked to grab that one. I couldn't believe it. Now, I know there's Salvation Army puts all this new stuff out on Wednesdays, so I was 2 days late, and if anything had already gone, then I want to know if stuff had gone, because this collection was really good. Level 42, The Pursuit of Accidents, all the same haul here, 1982. You guys know my love for Level 42, I show them quite a bit on the channel. Didn't have this one, so happy to grab that for a good price. This one I wasn't too familiar with. Again, listened to some of the tracks online and really enjoyed it for what it was. Wavelength by Van Morrison. My first Van Morrison back in the new collection, at least. I did have some before my massive purge, but really happy to get this one. And this one still has its original inner sleeve. Not all of them did, but this one was one of the few that did. So happy to grab that one. probably struggling to see that, I know, but this is George Benson with the George Benson collection. So 2 LP set of some of his greatest hits there. So it's got Give Me the Night, it's got On Broadway, it's got Love Ballad, Nature Boy, it's got his cover of Here Comes the Sun is on here, Breezing is on here, Greatest Love of All is on here. Yeah, just 2 LP set of his greatest hits over the years. So another one I kind of went a little bit cuckoo over when I found it, because again, much like the Earl Clue, I always see them beat to crap, or like people try and charge like, more than what it goes for on Discogs, just because it's George Benson. Yeah, really happy with that one. And last one I picked up is probably the least funky thing in the stack. In fact, this is the only real soulful thing. This is Sarah Vaughan and Jimmy Rowell's Quintet. Wasn't familiar with this, but I do know Sarah Vaughan, so I was happy to grab this one. Yeah, this one again, US Press, I believe, on Mainstream, 1974. Again, wasn't familiar, but as I said, did give it a little listen online and was really happy to pick this up. So took a gamble, and yeah, like I said, these all 8 of these, including this single, are all from the same trip to the Salvation Army. All really happy with those. Again, I need to listen to them, clean them up, but it gives you an idea of how everything went that day. So that was that, and I was planning on going to the record store on my birthday as well, but he had a late delivery on new releases, and there was one new release I really wanted to make sure I picked up, because it was one I wanted to, my first full listen of this album, wanted it to be on vinyl, because this is this band's first studio album in 7 years. That might give you a clue as to who it is. This is the Kooks with Never Know. Their 6th studio album, and like I said, their first album in 7 years. There's loads of different variants of this. There's like a red one, there's a red marble one, there's red, black and white. This one's the white vinyl pressing, which I didn't know until I opened it just now to double check what colour the vinyl was. Yeah, really happy with this. The band's obviously now a 2-piece band. You've got liner notes there and everything. But yeah, he didn't get this on release day, he got it the day after. So my trip to the record store actually fell on Sunday before I went to work. And I picked this up. And the haul you're going to see, most of it was a lot cheaper than what it should be, because I had 2 loyalty cards to spend. He does loyalty cards at the store, so every time you spend £20 or more, you get, every £20 you spend, you get a stamp. You get 10 stamps, you get £20 off your next purchase. So I had 2 to use, so that's why this haul is a bit bigger than I initially planned it to be. And I was going to see what hip-hop releases he had. I always gravitate towards the hip-hop section at some point. And there was like, I think there was 3 I was thinking about getting. And it came down to which one do I want more. And I opted for this one. This is De La Soul with De La Soul is Dead. This is the 2023 reissue that came out. Obviously in 2023, when they went through reissuing their whole back catalogue, and they got the rights back to their music. Really stoked to grab this one. I do want Stakes is High as well. At some point, but yeah, we're super happy to add some more De La Soul to the collection. There is that one. Haven't opened that one yet, but I know that one's on black vinyl anyway, so that's the one I picked from the hip hop section. As I said, there was like 3 hours going back and forth with, and at the end of the day, this one's been on my wants list a lot longer than the other two, and it's definitely one I've wanted to grab since it came out. So, excuse me, there's that one. And then I got two from the second-hand section, or well, one. So how his store's laid out? As you walk in, you see this section is sort of split out into one's 70s, 80s, and 90s, and then there's a 60s section. And I was sort of checking every single section of the store, and right in the middle of the store was his rock and metal section. And normally I don't pick out too much from the metal section. It's not a genre I typically gravitate towards. It's not one I know too much about or know really what I'm looking at. But this one caught my eye and I wanted to check it out. So I picked it up. I know the band, I don't necessarily know this album too well, but this is Quiet Riot with Quiet Riot. Their fourth album, I believe, came out in 1988. I'm a much bigger fan of hair metal, 80s hair metal, than I was, I'd say, a few years back. So bands like Rat, probably Scorpions, I think probably fall into that section. Quiet Riot, obviously. I wish this was their first album. Is it Metal Face or Mental Health? Excuse me, Mental Health. But this one will do me nicely. I liked some of the tracks I heard when I listened to it in the store, so grabbed it for the price it was at, and yeah, super clean copy there. And yeah, I didn't know this album. I'd never even seen this album before, so that's a new one for me, but happy to grab it anyway. And then I went back to his 70s section because there was one in there I really wanted to make sure I picked up, and that was Sheet Music by 10cc, which again, this is an 80s reissue, but still really happy to grab this one, add this back to the collection. 10cc is one of them bands where I see them all the time, but they're cheap, so I'll sort of pick them up as I find them. But this one, for some reason, it's always beat when I find it, so finding this one in really good shape was really good for me. So I picked this one up, hopefully grab some other ones by them soon, but that's a really good copy of that one. Anyway, I've got one more to show you, and this last one I'm going to show you is from his free section. So he had a couple of sections of records where it was, yeah, a free LP with every purchase. So I was having a little look through there just to make sure, see if there was anything I really wanted. Nothing was jumping out at me because it was obviously all the usual suspects like Nat King Cole, Carpenters, stuff that typically you could find in charity shops or even like pound bins if a record store has a pound or dollar section. It's the stuff you typically find there, and I nearly went for a Nat King Cole release. There was a copy of Arrival by ABBA in there, but it was beat. The cover was falling apart, the vinyl was unplayable, so I left it behind, and I did end up picking up this album, and this is a bit of a guilty pleasure band for me. I know you guys are probably gonna think it's a bit of a weird one, but this is Bread, Baby I'ma Want You, from 70, I want to say 2 on this one. I'm just trying to find, yeah, sorry. But you guys probably know Bread. The title track on this one was pretty big, as well as the track Everything I Own, which was later covered by Ken Boothe and became a massive scene on the reggae, scene. Yeah, 72 is the year on this one. It's just on the Butterfly label. But yeah, this was my free one from the visit, so happily picked that one up. And yeah, Bread's been a guilty pleasure band of mine for quite some time. along with like things like the Carpenters anyway, and then I have a few where I'm just like, a lot of people might screw their noses up at them at first glance, but me, I do like a bit of bread, particularly when the sun is shining and I just want something mellow to throw on. Bread are a go-to, and really happy to add some bread back into my collection. So there it is, guys. That is my haul from my birthday. I'll say birthday weekend because, as I said, Friday was all the charity shop finds, and then Sunday was my my trip to the record store where I picked up those 2 new albums, and then the Quiet Riot and the 10cc and the bread. So pretty good stuff all in all. Really happy with this haul. Is it better than last year's haul? No. It was obviously last year I picked up like 2 Miles Davis albums, which I was really missing from my collection. Then his selection this time around, nothing, wasn't too much that stood out to me. I picked it the best I could with what he had, and as I said, there were a couple of things I was going back and forth with, like trying to work out like what do I want more, what am I going to play more in the moment, what's been here. And there was a couple of things I'd seen on a few different visits, like, and I was just thinking like, what can I get? Am I going to see this again? Am I going to get it cheaper down the road? And so yeah, that was my thinking behind going to the record store, as we all do when we go to a record store. Have I seen that before? What is the price fair? Am I going to find it cheaper somewhere else later down the road? Will I regret buying it now? Will I regret leaving it now? That sort of thing. So these questions all go through our heads when we're finding a record store, or at least they do for me. Especially more nowadays, now that I'm trying more to budget myself better than I did. But I'm digressing on. I will continue this. Well, no need to continue this, but should be another video coming out soon. And then that will be my last video before we move, because I don't know when we're moving. I can't do any what's been spinning videos because my record player is, I've got a pile of boxes in front of my record player at the moment, so I can't get to it. Won't be many. I'll be doing, my next video will be a recent finds, or like a vinyl collection update, which will be my last one until, like I said, until we've moved, because haven't been picking up. I've been picking up loads, but haven't been able to listen to it. Type thing. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. As I said, I'm digressing. I always do it towards the end of my videos. I don't know why. It's just me. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe if you're new here. It really helps me out. Make sure the bell's switched on. You never miss an upload that way. And I will see you all again very soon. Bye.